Okay, here we have the Dyson Digital Slim Mk2 DC44 Animal, and all the items on the table all come within the box at the back. So we have here the main unit. This is a hand comfortable item. It's very well balanced because the battery is in the bottom part of the unit and the motor is on the top. I've got quite large hands, and even I find it quite comfortable to hold. You have here, you can see in red here, just between my hands and where my index finger is, a trigger, and the unit comes charged, so don't be surprised when you press the trigger and absolutely you straight away hear it doing some suction. There's a light on the top to show you that it's working fine. This will also give various other messages to you via blinking codes, etc. On the rear there is another button which has got max written on it, and when that's pressed in, not only does the top green LED come on, but this also illuminates to let you know that you've got the unit in a sort of extra and max high power mode. Let me just show you that. And there's again an increased sound as the motor revs to an even greater speed. Okay, you've got here the root cyclone patterning on the top here, which is what controls and shapes the air to give you that kind of cycling, no loss of suction cleaning that Dyson are famous for. This is the canister that holds all the dust and dirt. You have on the flip side a red trigger release, so obviously you want to be above a bin when you do this. It's a simple case of just sliding down a catch, and this swings free, doesn't come off the unit, and all the dirt and dust will fall out, and you can then just, again, it's quite a firm click that unit back in, and you've got yourself a nice empty Dyson vacuum cleaner. So this is really good, convenient size. It's well balanced. The weight, even though there is a bit of weight to this, it doesn't feel heavy because they balanced it very cleverly. There's no real weight to the front part. It's all around your hand. Okay, quickly talking about the other items on the table. So you can actually use the Digital Slim 44 in two modes. You can use it where you just attach the head directly to the short stumpy pipe there, or one of the tools. I've got them currently in the supplied wall mount. Let me just slide that out. So this is a very much more traditional stiff-ended nozzle for getting to nooks, crannies, etc., corners of stair carpets, etc. And absolutely they can just go onto the very end part here, and you can use it in a very kind of short mode. So you've got yourself a tool with a lot of power, which is only about 1.5 foot long from your hand, or for the jobs where you want to actually be able to get to the floor, you then use the, in this case it's a really nice electric neon blue, and it's a metal pole. It's not plastic at all, this is aluminium, so it's light but very strong. And then of course you've got yourself a long enough pole to be able to do these things from a standing position into the corners of your floor, around your skirting boards, etc. So you've got here quite a flexible length option. One of the other tools I've got here in the wall unit mounting bracket is a dual use tool end. So you've got what looks initially like just a brush. You've actually got a press button on the back here. If I press that, I can slide the bristles back up the unit slightly, and I reveal then a harder nozzle for when you're doing, for example, if I were to do my car seats, I would probably use a combination of the hard nozzle to get a good rubbing into the stitching of the upholstery in the car, and then finish off with the bristles, etc. So that's a dual use tool, and you do, again, just by pressing the button, you can click it into operation, into use, whether as a brush end or a hard tipped end as the nozzle is. Okay, this thing front right, it's easy to pick up now I've taken out the tools, is actually a wall unit, and what I've done here is I've actually connected up the power lead. So the power lead, this is the connector, this is the transformer that goes into your wall. It's a 3-pin UK plug, and it's obviously going to be for each country the actual specific end plug for the country and voltage, etc. is required. It's quite a long lead. Certainly it's designed to be mounted on the wall with all these tools attached to the unit, so it's going to be a good few feet off the floor. You get a very clear mini booklet helping you explain how to install this. So this is a representation of the actual unit you have here. This is the power cord, and all I've done for now is I've just wound the cable around the back of the unit as it's instructed, and clipped the power connector into the top. Just turn that over so that can actually mount flash to the wall. And there's other instructions here explaining how to mount at the wall. So it's exactly 1,200 millimeters up, so just over a meter and a bit, 47¼ inches from the floor. And then it shows you that you can actually put your unit stored in and charging in this wall mount unit. So the idea here is that you've got a hinge that your battery end of the unit goes into, like this. It then clicks down flat, locks in place, and the weight is totally on the wall bracket. So it doesn't. This will rest on the floor, the pole, etc., and the heads will actually then go to the floor. But you've got yourself a unit that charges until it's ready to use, and all you're doing is grabbing the handle of the unit. So it's quite a neat little unit where what you've got here is the charge point. So this is actually going to slide in. Let me just do this quickly, like this, and down, and you can hear clunk click. So both you've got the charge point here on the far right, and you've got yourself now, this would obviously be mounted onto the wall, like this. Power lead, I'll move this out of the way a little bit. So you've got somewhere to store these tools. These click in. Of course, you can have your main long pole connected to the unit. If I get it the right way around, apologies. And on the end of that, of course, and that's why they're giving you a very specific measurement, you can have either one, but not both, of the power tools. So that whole unit there will actually go onto your wall, and then you've got a very easy to grab item. Let me just disconnect these things. Okay, I'm going to take the wall unit just out of shot and bring back the main unit here. Okay, so let's go on to the heads. You've got two heads here as part of the DC44 Animal set, and the reason you get two is one is specialist for smaller nooks and crannies as well as pet hairs. So this is the specialist pet hair unit, where this is a dual purpose carpet and hard floor. And this is quite clever what Dyson have done here. They've got a mixture of bristles in here. So you've got some very firm bristles as well as some very soft bristles, and the combination helps both with hard floors and carpets. And Dyson's assurance is that you've got a deeper all-around cleaning head here. And Dyson typically, when they say they've done something, they do it. I of course will be testing this in use. And you've got quite an interesting thing here. Two things I think are particularly good about the main use head. One, it goes very, very flat, and that means you can get under furniture, sofas, under your dressers, under your skirt, under your sideboards, etc. You've got a really quite good clearance here, where you can actually slide this, roll this unit underneath your furniture without any problems. You've also got, and I'm only doing this on a table, but you've got a really good hinge joint, which is both hingy and flexible, but these are actually also wheels. So actually it feels like you can really easily steer and maneuver this around. So that's going to be, I think, very easy to steer, and again, in use, that will, I'll be able to prove that one way or another. Where the animal head is a little bit simpler. So it's quite a specialised tool. It goes very, very flush, very, very flat bottom to this unit. And you've then just got the longer brush hairs, and they're only red. So this is more specialised for pet hairs, etc. And a particular tool, and is often the way with Dyson animal ranges. Okay, one thing that these both have in common is the way that they connect to the main unit. So you've actually got two pins here and two pins here, and along the actual shaft of the unit you've actually got a socket and power arrangement here. Oh, sorry, banging it around there, do apologise for the noise. And again, you've got two pins here. So what you've actually done here, what Dyson have done here, sorry, is you've got yourself not just a unit that's supplying suction through this hole here, but you've also got power connections. So whether you have this on long or short mode, when I connect this item, this head, to the Dyson, I've now got myself not just suction going through here, but I've also got power to the end, and it's easier to see on the animal end. I've got here a motor, and the same in here. I've got myself motors in here, and again, this is not just an extension lead from point of view of length to give you convenience, and also allowing you to suck up dirt, dust, and grit, etc. through the floor, but it also has this discrete power connection that supplies power to these heads. So whether it's in short mode or long mode, so when I turn this unit on, not only have I got the suction going down here, but after only a very short delay. So once you've got the suction established, these will then also spin, but not because of some clever fan system, as the earlier units have done and alternative and competitors have done, but because it's actually got power to a motor. Okay, so there's a real force there. I'm not recommending anybody put their thumb into moving parts, but I've done this a few times. And it's a real amount of force. I really have to grip that hard. And then quite immediately, you've got a safety feature here. So this is quite a nice concern if anyone's got children or pets that are perhaps a little bit adventurous around hoovers. It's not going to hurt you, okay? So it's got a real force, but I'm no way, not even a friction burn, etc. But it's got a real force to it. But when it meets resistance, very carefully and cleverly, it switches off. So the suction was still going, but this end went quiet. We'll do that once more. Okay. And you can tell it's a safety cutout because it actually stays off until you turn it off and then turn it on again. And that's a really good feature, and that does it with both these motors, both these motorised heads. So what you have here is a very versatile unit. It's got 20 minutes battery time. It's got these motors, and it's got powered ends, and it's got a digital motor in here which is giving, you know, many thousands of RPM per minute. So this is an incredibly fast motor, which is where a lot of the power comes from. It's a brushless motor. That's what they mean by the digital. It's a slightly different way of controlling the pulsing power that makes motors revolve and the way it supplies power to the unit. I've going to just show you a few other last things here. So removing the battery. If you actually hold down this other button here, it's not really a button, more of a catch release mechanism. You're then able to remove out the bottom the actual power. So this 20-minute battery. The good thing about this is it means you can buy a second one if you wanted to use this as your prime and only vacuum cleaner. So you wanted to do maybe 20 minutes upstairs, 20 minutes downstairs. You can have a second one charging whilst you're using the other one. It also means that in 2-3 years time, whatever, if ever this battery does go defunct, then I know I can just buy another unit and I've not got any problems here, because I've got a very long life motor here. This brushless motor is going to really last a long time. There's a lot less wear, etc. on a motor, so it's not going to be like your washing machine where you're going to need to replace the motor every few years. Okay, in here you've now got open access to, and it's quite an important point, Dyson really do stipulate this in many ways. I'm going to quickly bring back the instructions. That blue box there says wash filter at least once a month, and this is the filter. So very easy to access, and it's a really nice one here. You just peel it out. It's got a really nice rubber seal around it, and you've got here a nice thick feeling filter that just needs to be washed under the cold tap, obviously dried completely before you then put it back in the unit. So it's a once a month task. You'll soon get used to doing it, and then you just pop that back in and make sure you've got all the seals back in place, and then you just click the unit back together. And doing that will ensure you maintain the suction and you're not putting unnecessary resistance to the unit, and you maintain all the necessary performance. And as you can see, it's really easy just to pop in place, and then it says, well, it didn't actually click. I was pushing it because I expected it to click and it didn't. So it actually went down flat, and it was a little bit smoother than the first time. The first time I did that to myself, I found that this actually clicked. Let me just see whether I've done that twice. Do that twice. So there's a click out, and it's a much quieter click going in. So I probably missed it when I was trying to do that just a minute ago. So that's a very easy thing to do. I've shown you the waste option. So you've got there all the various features here. The trigger button. You've got the power connector on the back. You've got the waste release button here on the bottom in the red. The top purple button gains you access to the filter, which you need to wash each month. This is obviously the trigger release option for the unit you're choosing to attach, whether it be the animal head, the full-size head, or the extension shaft, or even directly the two tools that I've still left attached to the wall unit, which I'm going to mount onto the wall later. Okay, so without further ado, I need to go and test this.